Hello and welcome to another Parry's Pickups. As you might be able to tell from the t-shirt, this is going to be an N64 special, as I've picked up quite a lot of N64 games lately. When I say quite a lot, I mean quite a lot, so I'm going to have to keep it a bit brief with my description of these games, but hopefully from this you'll be able to get an idea of what's worth playing and probably in some cases here what's worth avoiding. I've got quite a few N64 games now. According to Retro Collect, 50% of the library. I don't think the other 50% is worth my time. I don't think some here are also worth it, but there are some gems in sort of our games, so I'm just going to go through them fairly quickly. First of all, Fighting Force 64 came in a sort of bag when I ordered it online, but this is fairly obscure game. Give a better look at the cartridge there. It's very good, first of all. When I say very good, it's not the greatest thing I've ever played, but you know, for a full 3D brawler, and at the time this came out, I think it's fairly solid. It's enjoyable. Some of the controls are a little bit ropey, but it's not that bad. Is it worth the price tag? This isn't a cheap N64 game by any means now. I think I paid just under 30 for it. £30 that is. I'd say it's pretty good, and there isn't anything else quite like it on the N64, so it may be worth adding to your collection. The next one I'll talk about is Virtual Pool 64, which is known to be one of the best of its kind. I think the only pool game on the N64 actually. And if you can work out the controls, I'm sure this game is great. It's not immediately accessible, unfortunately. You will have to refer to the manual, I imagine, so or the internet if you don't have the manual. I was looking to get this one boxed, not with a box here, but it's pretty bad, but at least I got the manual with it. So not easy to pick up and play, I wouldn't say, because you'll probably hear this is a great game. If you want something that you can play straight, put it in and play straight away, no. Stick to Monkey Billiards on Monkey Ball. But I'm assured there's a great game near somewhere. I just need to spend a little bit more time with it. Next up is PGA European Golf. I do apologise if everything's backwards on this video. I think it's just to do the way I filmed it. Fortunately I haven't got my video camera here in the UK at the moment, so. This game is good, and it is the best golf game next to Mario Golf. So if you're looking for an alternative to Mario Golf, which is more in line with real golf, then this is the one to go for. Don't bother with anything else on the N64. This and Mario Golf will do you fine. I'd say Mario Golf is a better game, so if you weren't fussed about having a more traditional golf game, just stick with Mario 64. So on the subject of golf games, Waylay Country Club True Golf Classics here is a little bit ropey. It's quite unique because it's got digitised characters and presentation's not that bad. It's just there are better golf games. Again, Cyber Tiger. Pretty fun presentation. Really weird option where you can expand the size of your player's head. Otherwise, you know, it's a bit iffy. If you want a fun golf game, then just play Mario Golf. This really isn't worth it. Okay, next up we have AllStar Tennis 99. This is a rather crap tennis game. Looks horrible. Plays, I'd say, below average. It's just not worth buying at all. And it's a shame because there aren't many tennis games on the N64. There's this, there's Centre Court Tennis, which I'll get to in a moment, and there's Mario Tennis. This one, avoid. Don't bother. I'll talk about Centre Court now, I might as well. This one's more fun. You can make your own players, which is a very unique feature for the game. It's more colourful, graphics aren't great, but it does play an okay game of tennis once you get used to the controls. So they're a little bit different than most tennis games. Just the timing of your shots and such. Once you adjust to that, this is fairly fun. But it is similar to Mario Tennis in its presentation. If you want a more realistic tennis game with real players in, you don't actually have any other options. So, okay, but if you've got Mario Tennis, then maybe it's just best to avoid this one. But if you're curious, not bad. This game is very good. It is called Battle Tanks Global Assault, and it is a fantastic multiplayer game. It moves very fast, lots of weapons, arena-based tank combat, over the top, silly, not so realistic, laser guns, missiles, and some really cool tank designs as well. So if you want a fun split-screen multiplayer game to play with your friends, then I would recommend Battle Tanks. It's maybe one of the more obscure games on the N64. It's not that expensive. It's similar price range to Fighting Force, maybe a little bit less, but it is worth it. So I would recommend this game a lot. And Track and Field Summer Games. You want track and field for the N64, then this is your option. And it's very good, very nice visuals actually, I thought, in this game. It's track and field. You've probably played this game before. It involves lots of button tapping very fast. That can be frustrating at times, but the game feels fair, nicely presented, and a good game if you want that sort of game on your N64. Wet Tricks is a puzzle game, and you've probably heard of it. It's been released in several formats over the years. It's a very unique puzzle game where you have to create an area of land to hold water. Very strange concept. It's not one I've actually got to grips with yet, but I've been assured this is a great game. Live virtual pool, it's going to take a little bit of time, not instantly accessible, but there is a tutorial mode on there to teach you the game. So Wet Tricks is pretty good. Next up, a racing game which is a lot of fun but doesn't look very nice, is Offroad Challenge. This is from Midway. This is similar to, I think it's running on not the same engine as the Cruising series, I'm not sure, because in this at least the cars are 3D, maybe they are in Cruising, I don't know. But there's Cruising USA, Cruising World, and then there's this one, Offroad Challenge, which is an off-road version of basically those games. It can be a little bit messy at times, difficult to tell exactly what's going on because there are hazards on the track and events that happen as you're racing, but it's a lot of fun. The cars handle great. It's just very brown, which is a bit of a sore point of the game, but it's fun. So I would recommend it if you can find it for a good price. That's Offroad Challenge. Next up we got Penny Racers, which is a racing game that is initially quite dull, you might think, but it's got some interesting mechanics. I've never played a racing game where when I take corners I roll around the corners. These cars, they take a little knock and they fly up in the air. They're very lightweight, and it is got this really great visual style which is similar to a cell shading kind of thing. It's bright and colourful. No music in multiplayer, which is slightly disappointing, I always find. The cars don't have any engine noise either, which is very weird. But that rolling around the corners is quite nice, and we played a few matches of this and didn't get tired of it really. If you can find it for a good price, it's a little bit of fun. Not a must-have by any means, but if you're curious about more N64 games, this might be one that's worth trying out. Virtual Chess 64 is, I think, perhaps the only chess game on the N64. Could be wrong. It's a good chess game. If you want a chess game for your N64, then you can't really go half wrong with this one. It doesn't do anything wrong particularly. It's got a nice presentation, nice music, tutorials as well, the ability to play 3D chess or 2D chess. So if you want a chess game, it's a good one. Knockout Kings 2000, great arcade style boxing game. I've heard somewhere it's a weird mix of arcade and simulation. For me it felt quite arcadey on first go, and I like those sort of boxing games. It was satisfying and fun, and yeah, Knockout Kings 2000, if you want a boxing game, is a good one. Recommend it. AllStar Baseball 99 is a game I've not spent a lot of time with. Lovely presentation, great graphics. If you know much about baseball, this is worth playing. I bought it because I don't have a baseball game for the N64. I kind of like what I've played of baseball games over the years, but I don't know enough about the sport to truly appreciate them. So it's one I have to spend a little bit of time with. But first impressions are good. Good baseball game there. There's another one, the AllStar Baseball 2000, I think, is also available. Slightly improved, but not a lot of difference between the two of them. So either one, you're good. And we're getting quite near the end of what's in those little bags. This is Road Rash 64. Road Rash 64 is a fun game. It's Road Rash. The idea is racing, but you can hit the other players off their bikes. A variety of weapons. You can kick, you can punch, you can throw chains at them. It's real fun. I mean, it's not the greatest game to look at, certainly, but what matters is the gameplay. It's quite colourful, which is something at least. But great fun gameplay, typical Road Rash type game. So I'd recommend that one as well. That's another one that's quite expensive now, a little bit more obscure, but it like Battle Tanks, it's worth playing. Forsaken is a really nice looking, very playable first person shooter type game where you're flying around in a little spaceship through little tunnels and you're shooting drones and other enemies, and it's very satisfying, it's very well made, it's fun. Forsaken, good game. V-Rally 99, really great rally game. I played this back in the day. And I was quite young at the time. I didn't really like it. I couldn't get to grips with the handling. Now, after playing quite a lot of racing games since then, I can say this is a great game. And once you adjust to the handling, well, that's one of the enjoyment factors of the game is the way the cars handle and keeping them on the track. And it's got really nice graphics as well. So, great rally game on the N64. And here we have Castlevania, which is very playable. And I was always avoided this one, so I wasn't sure if I'd like it. I'd heard some dubious things about it. But it's well made, it's enjoyable. There are some issues I hear later on in the game, but on first impressions and playing through the first part of the game, it's rather nice. I mean, colours are quite drab, but that's the atmosphere the game is trying to create. It's pretty cool. I think it's going to be a good quality game, and so far I've enjoyed it. Now, I did have another game that I bought recently, and that is Multi-Racing Championship, which, unlike Penny Racers, has engine noise and a lot of it. That was one of the most jarring things after playing that game, and then coming to this one, is it's very noisy. But it's great in multiplayer. It really is. We had some great tussles, one-on-one races in this, where the lead would change so often, and that, for me, always makes a great racing game. Maybe it was the fact we were both adjusting to the handling, and it was a level, fair playing field, but I really liked it. In a similar way I like V-Rally, is once you get to grips with the handling, it's quite rewarding, and it's quite an exciting racing game as well. Very inexpensive game. If you like racing games, you might have a bit of fun with this. That's Multi-Racing Championship. I don't think I've ever done this many games in a video before. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've maybe found some N64 games that might interest you, you might want to try out, and also maybe just learn about those ones that you've heard are okay and you're considering getting. Some of these aren't so good, basically. Hopefully it's been educational, and until next time, game on. See you again soon.